The orbital platform shuddered against the crushing embrace of the gas giant below, its hull plates singing a symphony of stress fractures and impending doom. Radiation cascaded through the maintenance shafts in waves of invisible death, each pulse painting Tara's helmet display in increasingly urgent shades of crimson warning. Her Zelani physiology, evolved in the gentle embrace of a stable star system, screamed its protest against this monument to human engineering audacity. 12 minutes to lethal exposure. The artificial gravity pressed down with the weight of 3 worlds, turning each footstep into a monumental effort of will. Liquid metal seemed to flow through her veins instead of blood. Her breathing apparatus recycled air that tasted of ozone and desperation. This should have been elegantly simple. Locate the human engineer. Execute the contract with professional precision. Depart before the station's inevitable collapse claimed any witnesses. Nothing about Kate Martinez had proven simple. The human emerged from behind a junction of coolant pipes like a mirage, materializing from industrial heat shimmer. Plasma cutter balanced in her grip with casual familiarity, as though the tool weighed no more than morning mist. Standard issue coveralls hung loose on her frame, fabric darkened with honest sweat and the residue of a dozen impossible repairs. No environmental armor gleamed on her shoulders. No breathing apparatus masked her features. No gravity compensation harness distributed the crushing weight that threatened to pulverize Tara's bones. Kate Martinez stood in the heart of a radiation storm, wearing work clothes and a smile. "Oh, hey there." The human's voice carried the warmth of genuine curiosity, as though discovering armed strangers in her workshop was merely another delightful surprise in an already interesting day. "You're new, I'm Kate. You hear about the coolant leak." Tara's translator protocols struggled to parse the casual cadence, searching for hidden threats in words that seemed to acknowledge mortal danger as routine plumbing maintenance. The coolant leak in question could flash boil them both into component atoms. Kate discussed it with the tone reserved for minor inconveniences. Tara's voice fractured through her helmet speakers, betraying weakness she couldn't afford to show. "The radiation levels are, they're pretty high today." Kate consulted a handheld scanner with the same attention she might give a weather report. "We'll get that sorted." The main reactor's throwing a fit because the magnetic containment field keeps drifting. Nothing major, nothing major." Tara stared through her visor at this impossible creature, who described containment failure in a fusion reactor as though it were a temperamental house pet, the sort of malfunction that should trigger immediate evacuation protocols for 3 sectors. Kate mentioned it like discussing a kitchen appliance with attitude problems. "You look a little green." Kate tilted her head with scientific interest, studying Tara's condition through layers of defensive technology. "Well, more green than usual. You feeling okay?" The platform's artificial gravity compressed Tara's internal organs against her spine. Power cells drained in real time to maintain her radiation shielding. Temperature sensors screamed warnings about life support failures, cascading through 3 entire sections. The hull groaned like a living thing in pain. Kate asked if she felt okay. The gravity differential. Each word cost Tara precious energy to speak. It's 3.7 times standard. Construction sites always run heavy. Kate's shrug dismissed physics as though gravitational forces were merely suggestions. Keeps the equipment stable. You get used to it after a few days. A few days. Tara had endured 6 hours of this crushing embrace, and her bones felt like crystal under pressure. Every movement required conscious negotiation with forces that wanted to grind her into the deck plating. Kate moved as though strolling through a botanical garden on a perfect spring morning. "Come on." Kate gathered her tools with efficient grace. "I'll show you where we keep the good coffee. Real stuff, not that synthetic garbage. Tara followed because alternatives had ceased to exist. Her target led the way through corridors where warning lights painted everything in shades of emergency. This human was supposed to die today. The contract had been explicit. Kate Martinez was disrupting carefully maintained balances across 3 star systems, making other species appear incompetent through the simple expedient of being impossibly good at her job. Eliminate the problem, collect the substantial payment, move on to easier prey. Except Kate refused to behave like someone who needed eliminating. She acted like someone who belonged exactly where she was, doing exactly what she was doing, despite the universe's apparent determination to kill her for it. They traversed a section where gravitational stress had buckled hull, plating into abstract sculptures of tortured metal. Emergency, klaxons wailed their electronic lamentations. The air carried the metallic tang of ionizing radiation, sharp on the tongue like blood and ozone. Kate hummed while she walked. An actual melody, threading through the symphony of mechanical distress like a counterpoint of inexplicable contentment. "You're not afraid." The observation escaped Tara before wisdom could intervene. Of what? Tara gestured at the architectural disaster surrounding them. The failing life support systems, the radiation levels that should have killed them both, the gravitational forces that made standing upright an act of defiance against cosmic law. This. Kate paused and surveyed her domain as though seeing it through fresh eyes. Oh, this mess. Yeah, it's pretty standard for a rush job. Corporate types promised the gas mining operation would be online 6 months ago. Cut corners on the radiation shielding, skimped on the gravity generators, used substandard hull plating. She resumed walking with untroubled stride. Now they're throwing money at anyone who can make it work. Most species won't even come aboard. Too dangerous, they say. It is too dangerous. The words emerged from Tara's throat like a prayer to absent gods of reason. For most people, sure. Kate approached a massive airlock door and manipulated its controls as though the reinforced barrier were constructed from paper and wishful thinking. But I grew up in Detroit. This isn't worse than Detroit. Tara possessed no cultural references for Detroit, though Kate's tone suggested a war zone that had somehow achieved municipal status. The implication hung in the recycled air like another layer of impossibility. The coffee station occupied what had once been a cargo bay, now transformed into Kate's engineering sanctuary. Tools arranged in patterns that spoke of long familiarity and practiced efficiency. Diagnostic equipment hummed with electronic contentment. Spare components formed careful pyramids of technological hope. A reactor component the size of a small spacecraft sat partially disassembled, its quantum innards exposed like the organs of some vast mechanical creature. Kate poured coffee from a battered metal pot, the liquid emerging black as space and steaming like an offering to caffeinated gods. Industrial solvent masquerading as beverage. The aroma alone suggested mild toxicity. Want some? Kate extended the cup with genuine hospitality. Tara contemplated the offered poison. Research files indicated human coffee was biochemically incompatible with most galactic species. Kate offered it as though sharing kindness required no consideration of potentially lethal consequences. I cannot. Oh, right. Species compatibility thing. Kate nodded with perfect understanding, as though this represented merely another minor detail to navigate. Sorry, I forget sometimes. She settled onto a work stool and sipped her toxic beverage with obvious satisfaction. Around them, the station continued its mechanical protests against physics. Warning lights painted their small sanctuary in shifting patterns of red and amber. Tara's radiation detector maintained its steady clicking rhythm, counting down the moments until her body's inevitable surrender. Kate appeared completely at peace with imminent doom. "So what brings you to our little disaster?" The question emerged with such normal inflection that Tara nearly answered with complete honesty. The truth balanced on her tongue. She was here to end Kate's life, to eliminate someone who made impossible engineering challenges appear routine, to silence a human whose casual competence embarrassed entire civilizations by comparison. "I'm reviewing your work." The lie felt clumsy in her mouth. "Ah, corporate audit." Kate's expression darkened slightly, though her tone remained conversational. "Yeah, they've been sending people to check up on me. Most don't make it past the docking bay. Something about the radiation levels. Most auditors couldn't survive boarding the station." Kate mentioned this detail as though discussing minor scheduling inconveniences. "How do you do it?" The question tore itself from Tara's chest before professional discipline could intervene. "Do what?" "This." Tara's gesture encompassed the disaster surrounding them like a prayer to incomprehensible forces. "The radiation should kill you. The gravity should crush you. The reactor should have exploded 3 times over." Kate looked genuinely puzzled by the inquiry. "It's just engineering. You identify the problems. You fix them in order of priority. You work around the constraints you can't change. Just engineering." Tara had observed Kate repair a critical coolant leak in a radiation field that would cook most species in minutes. She had accomplished this miracle while discussing lunch plans with the sort of casual attention others reserved for mundane conversation. The magnetic containment field. Tara forced her voice to remain steady. "Your report said it was drifting by 37%. "Yeah, that's today's problem." Kate stood and approached a diagnostic panel with the fluid grace of someone operating in her natural element. "The field generators are fighting the gravitational shear from the gas giant. Standard solution would be to install compensator arrays. But we don't have 6 months and unlimited budget." Her hands danced across the controls with practiced precision. "So instead, I'm teaching the computer to surf. Surf, ride the gravitational waves instead of fighting them." Kate's explanation accompanied holographic displays that transformed abstract physics into flowing poetry of force and motion. "Let the field drift in a controlled pattern. Use the planet's gravity to stabilize the reaction instead of destabilizing it." The visualization showed gravitational forces as rivers of energy, flowing and ebbing with tidal precision. Kate was transforming a crushing death trap into an elegant tool, turning the gas giant's hostile embrace into an ally. "That shouldn't work." Tara whispered the words like an incantation against impossible reality. "Probably not." Kate's grin carried the reckless joy of someone who had discovered that the universe possessed a sense of humor. "But it's working anyway." The reactor's fundamental harmonic shifted, dropping into deeper registers of contained power. Warning lights cascaded from red through amber toward blessed green. Gravitational stress indicators settled into ranges that suggested actual survival might be theoretically possible. Kate had solved a problem that should have required teams of specialists and months of careful calculation. She had accomplished this feat during a coffee break while making casual conversation with her own assassin. "How long have you been here?" Tara asked. 4 days. 4 days." Tara's mission briefing had described 8 months of progressive failure. 3 separate engineering firms had declared the platform unsalvageable. Insurance companies prepared to write off the entire operation as a total loss worthy only of controlled demolition. Kate had rendered their professional opinions obsolete in less than a week. The previous teams. Tara chose her words with the care reserved for navigating minefields. "What happened to them?" "Oh, they left pretty quick." Kate finished her coffee with evident satisfaction. Said the working conditions were unacceptable. Something about safety protocols and acceptable risk levels. She stood and stretched. the simple movement appearing effortless despite gravitational forces that should have required hydraulic assistance. The casual gesture spoke of adaptation so complete it had become unconscious. "Want to see the really fun part?" Kate asked. Tara followed her deeper into the station's mechanical heart, through corridors where emergency lighting cast everything in dramatic chiaroscuro. Air recycling systems wheezed with mechanical emphysema. Hull plates created their own percussion section, beating time against cosmic forces that wanted to compress them all into component atoms. Kate navigated this industrial hellscape as though touring her private estate. The central reactor chamber opened before them like a cathedral dedicated to barely contained forces of creation. The fusion core hung suspended in a web of magnetic fields and coolant lines, pulsing with energies that had once lit the hearts of stars. Radiation levels here transcended mere danger, entering realms where matter itself began to question its commitment to existing in current configurations. Tara's helmet display abandoned all pretense of useful information, painting her vision in solid sheets of red warning. Kate walked directly toward the reactor housing as though approaching an old friend. "See the problem." She indicated a section where magnetic fields flickered with unstable patterns. "The field generators are out of phase. They're fighting each other instead of working together." Tara could barely remain upright. Radiation cooked her flesh through layers of protective technology. Her gravity compensators surrendered to forces beyond their design parameters. Heat overwhelmed her suit's cooling systems, turning her armor into a personal furnace. Kate produced a hand tool and opened an access panel with casual confidence. "You can't work on that." Tara's voice emerged as a whispered gasp. "Not here, not without full protection." "I've got protection." Kate tapped her radiation badge, as though this simple device could deflect the fundamental forces of nuclear fusion. "Besides, it'll only take a few minutes." A few minutes of direct exposure to an active fusion reactor. Kate discussed this prospect as though changing a household light fixture. She reached into the access panel and began making adjustments with the sort of careful attention others might give to delicate flower arrangements. Magnetic fields shifted in response to her touch. The reactor's harmonic signature dropped into deeper, more stable registers. Radiation levels decreased with measurable relief. Kate closed the panel and wiped her hands on her coveralls, removing invisible traces of work that should have been impossible. "There. That should hold until we can get proper replacement parts." Tara stared at this impossible creature who had just performed maintenance on an active fusion reactor. By hand, in a radiation field that should have reduced her to component particles within seconds. That was impossible. The words felt inadequate to describe what she had witnessed. Nah, just had to convince the field generators to play nice with each other. Kate began walking back toward the coffee station with unhurried stride. They're basically big electromagnets. Same principle as fixing a car stereo. Car stereo. Tara's translator provided no context for this reference. Kate was comparing fusion reactor maintenance to some primitive human entertainment technology. They retraced their path through corridors that no longer seemed quite so apocalyptic. Warning lights had shifted toward healthier spectrums. The air carried less metallic tang of impending doom. Gravitational stress indicators suggested that remaining intact might actually be achievable. Kate had transformed a failing orbital platform into a functional installation, while drinking coffee and maintaining conversation with someone sent to kill her. The other teams, Tara's voice carried new understanding. The ones who left, they couldn't do what you just did. Different approaches to problem solving. Kate's response held no judgment, only observation. They wanted to follow standard protocols. Do everything by the book. Sometimes the book doesn't have answers for your specific situation. She refilled her coffee cup with the satisfaction of someone who had accomplished meaningful work. Sometimes you have to make it up as you go. Tara's mission briefing had described Kate as a threat to galactic stability, an engineering anomaly whose capabilities exceeded normal parameters, someone whose casual competence made entire species appear inadequate by comparison. The briefing had been correct in every detail. Kate was dangerous beyond any conventional assessment, but not in the way Tara had anticipated. Your species? Tara chose her words with archaeological precision. You're all like this. Like what? Capable of. Tara struggled to find language adequate to the task, working in impossible conditions, solving problems that have no solutions, treating mortal danger like routine maintenance. Kate considered this question with the same thoughtful attention she gave engineering challenges. I guess we're pretty adaptable. Comes from growing up on a planet that's constantly trying to kill you. Earth. Tara's research files classified it as a Class 11 death world. Extreme weather patterns, toxic atmospheric composition in numerous regions, predatory wildlife, geological instability. Most civilized species considered it barely habitable under ideal circumstances. Humans called it home and spoke of it with affection. The gravity here. Tara gestured at forces that were slowly compressing her into a more compact version of herself. It doesn't affect you. Sure it does. I'll probably have a backache tomorrow. Kate shrugged with magnificent indifference to physics. But you work with what you've got. Complaining doesn't fix anything. A backache. Kate was describing gravitational stress that was reorganizing Tara's internal architecture as minor workplace discomfort. The radiation exposure. Tara persisted in her catalog of impossibilities. I'll get a full medical scan when I rotate out next month. Standard precaution. Kate finished her coffee with evident satisfaction. Probably nothing to worry about. I've had worse exposure from old X-ray machines. Old X-ray machines. Another reference that provided no meaningful context. Kate was comparing lethal radiation to some aspect of human medical technology, as though her species routinely exposed themselves to forces that would sterilize entire ecosystems. How do you do it? Tara asked again, though she suspected the answer would only deepen the mystery. Do what? Make the impossible look routine. Kate regarded her with genuine puzzlement, as though the question itself defied comprehension. It's not impossible. It's just work. You identify the problems. You find solutions. You implement them. You move on to the next problem. Just work. Tara had dedicated her career to eliminating individuals who posed threats to galactic stability. Her training had taught her to recognize dangerous anomalies. Individuals whose capabilities exceeded normal parameters by sufficient margins to destabilize existing orders. Kate exceeded every parameter Tara could measure, and she remained completely oblivious to her own impossibility. The contract on your life. Tara spoke the words quietly, as though volume might somehow make them less true. Kate looked up from her coffee with mild curiosity. What? Someone hired me to kill you. The revelation hung between them in recycled air, thick with the scent of impossible coffee and functioning machinery. Kate's expression remained steady. She didn't reach for weapons, didn't summon security, didn't display any of the reactions Tara had been trained to expect. Kate's response carried the same tone she might use to discuss supply delivery delays. That's inconvenient. Inconvenient. Tara had announced her intention to commit professional murder, and Kate described it as inconvenient. You're not surprised. The observation emerged as a statement rather than a question. Not really. I've been getting weird vibes from some of the corporate types, and you're obviously not a standard auditor. Kate gestured toward Tara's equipment with professional assessment. That's military-grade stealth gear, pretty expensive for a paperwork review. Kate had identified her as a threat from their first meeting, and she had offered coffee anyway. "Why haven't you reported me?" Tara asked. "To who?" "Station security consists of me and a maintenance robot." Kate finished her coffee with the same satisfaction she had shown throughout this surreal day. "Besides, you haven't actually tried to kill me yet." Yet. Kate acknowledged the implied threat with the same casual tone she used for reactor maintenance and coffee preparation. "I can't complete the mission." The admission felt like confessing personal failure to cosmic forces. "Why not?" The directness of the question nearly triggered inappropriate laughter. "Because I need you to survive." What? The radiation exposure, the gravitational stress, the failing life support. Tara gestured toward her armor's increasingly urgent warning displays. "I've been on station for 8 hours. My equipment is failing. My body is shutting down. You're the only thing keeping this place habitable." Kate examined Tara's equipment readouts with the sort of professional interest she might show for any malfunctioning system. "Yeah, you're pretty cooked. Why didn't you say something? I'm here to kill you." Tara repeated the phrase as though it might suddenly make sense. "Right, but you're also dying of radiation poisoning." Kate stood and approached a supply locker with purposeful stride. Professional obligations aside, that's a medical emergency. She retrieved a silver blanket and wrapped it around Tara's shoulders with gentle efficiency. The material felt cool against her overheated armor, seeming to absorb ambient radiation like a sponge collecting toxic water. Emergency shielding. Kate's explanation carried the same practical tone she used for all her miracle solutions. "Should buy you a few hours, long enough to get you to the medical bay." Kate was providing medical treatment to her own would-be assassin, while discussing it as though radiation poisoning were merely another workplace safety issue. "I don't understand you." Tara whispered the confession. "What's to understand? You've got a job to do. I've got a job to do. Right now, keeping you alive is part of my job." Kate consulted her handheld scanner with professional attention. The radiation shielding should hold until the next supply shuttle arrives. When? 3 days. 3 days. Tara couldn't survive 3 more hours without Kate's intervention. Her armor was failing in real time. The environment remained actively hostile to her continued existence. Her only chance of survival was staying close to the human she had been sent to eliminate. This is not how assassinations work. The protest emerged weakly. "I wouldn't know. I'm an engineer, not a killer." Kate gathered her tools with familiar efficiency. "Speaking of which, I need to check the water recycling system. The filtration units are making unhappy noises." She paused at the threshold, looking back with genuine concern. "You coming? The medical bay is on the way. We can get you set up with better radiation protection." Tara followed because choice had become an illusion. Her target was leading her to medical treatment while discussing water filtration problems as though attempted murder were merely another item on an engineering checklist. The absurdity of the situation made her dizzy. Or perhaps that was the radiation poisoning achieving new levels of artistic expression. The medical bay occupied a converted storage compartment equipped with basic emergency systems. Kate helped Tara out of her failing armor and into a medical scanner with the same gentle efficiency she applied to all technical problems. "Yeah, you're pretty badly cooked." Kate studied the diagnostic display with professional interest. "Nothing fatal, but you'll need treatment. The good news is we've got the best medical AI in the sector. The bad news is it's programmed for human physiology." She began entering commands with practiced familiarity. "We'll have to extrapolate for your species. Probably close enough for emergency treatment." The medical scanner hummed to life with electronic contentment. Tara felt the radiation damage begin to heal as the AI administered targeted cellular repair. Like tiny construction crews rebuilding her biology from the molecular level upward. Why are you helping me? The question felt essential, because you need help. Kate adjusted scanner settings with the same attention she gave reactor maintenance, and because killing people is generally bad for station morale. Station morale. Kate was treating attempted assassination as a human resources issue. The contract. Tara's voice felt stronger as the medical treatment progressed. It's worth a lot of money. How much? More than you'll make in 10 years. Kate whistled softly, the sound carrying genuine appreciation. Someone really wants me dead. Any idea why? You're making other species look incompetent. Destabilizing engineering contracts across 3 star systems. By doing my job, by doing your job too well. Kate contemplated this revelation while the medical scanner continued its restorative work. So I'm being assassinated for professional competence. Yes, that's definitely a new one. Kate's laughter filled the medical bay with unexpected warmth. Most people get fired for incompetence. I'm getting murdered for the opposite. She found the situation amusing. Tara had explained why someone wanted her dead, and Kate responded with genuine humor. Does this change anything? Kate asked. What do you mean, the assassination? Are you still planning to go through with it? Tara studied the medical readouts showing progressive healing of radiation damage. She would survive this encounter, but only because Kate had chosen to help her. I can't. The admission felt like confessing weakness to the universe. Can't or won't? Both. Tara attempted to sit up, but the medical scanner maintained gentle restraint. I can't complete a mission when the target is keeping me alive, and I won't kill someone who treats attempted murder as a workplace safety issue. Kate's grin transformed her entire face. That's probably the nicest thing anyone's ever said about my customer service skills. Customer service. Kate was describing life-saving medical treatment as customer service. What happens now? Tara asked. Now we fix the water recycling system. Then we tackle the atmospheric processors. After that, maybe dinner. Kate consulted her work schedule with the same attention she gave everything else. The supply shuttle arrives in 3 days. You can catch a ride out if you want. And the contract? What about it? I failed to complete it. There will be consequences. Kate looked thoughtful, as though this represented merely another engineering problem requiring solution. What kind of consequences? Other assassins, more professional ones. Ah, Kate nodded with understanding. Well, they'll have the same issues you did. The radiation, the gravity, the general hostility of the working environment. She gestured at the orbital platform around them, no longer quite so hostile, but still challenging enough to discourage casual visitors. Hard to complete an assassination when you're dying of environmental exposure. You're not concerned about future assassination attempts. Kate shrugged with magnificent indifference. I'm more worried about the atmospheric processors. They're making weird noises, and weird noises in life support equipment usually mean expensive repairs. Expensive repairs. Kate was more concerned about equipment maintenance than professional killers. You're insane. Tara spoke the words with something approaching admiration. Maybe, but I'm good at my job. Kate helped her out of the medical scanner with gentle efficiency. Speaking of which, want to see how we're going to fix the atmospheric processors without shutting down life support. Tara followed her deeper into the station, radiation shielding, transforming the environment from lethal to merely challenging. Her armor systems stabilized. Warning displays shifted toward healthier colors. She was no longer dying. Kate had fixed that problem too. The processors are overcycling because of the gravitational stress. Kate's explanation accompanied their journey through corridors where machinery hummed with improved health. The gas giant's tidal forces are throwing the chemical balance out of whack. They reached another chamber filled with massive atmospheric processing units. The machinery vibrated at frequencies that made Tara's teeth ache, protesting against forces that exceeded their design specifications. Standard solution would be to shut everything down and recalibrate. Kate approached the diagnostic panels with familiar confidence, but that would mean evacuating the station while the work gets done. How long would that take? 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks without breathable atmosphere. Kate mentioned this timeframe as though discussing minor scheduling delays. So instead, Kate's hands moved across control interfaces with practiced precision. We're going to hot swap the calibration matrix while the system is running. Is that possible? Probably not. Kate's expression carried the same reckless joy she had shown throughout the day. But we're going to try anyway. Kate connected diagnostic equipment with the fluid grace of someone who understood machinery at levels approaching telepathic communion. The processors continued their unhealthy vibrations. Warning lights painted everything in urgent reds. Status displays cataloged cascading system failures. Kate worked with untroubled focus, treating environmental hazards as engineering parameters requiring management rather than reasons for concern. Hand me that calibration probe. Kate's request emerged without interrupting her concentration. Tara located the specified tool and passed it over, finding unexpected satisfaction in this simple act of assistance. Kate integrated the probe into the processor's control matrix and began making adjustments that should have been impossible under current conditions. The vibration patterns shifted. Error displays flickered between states of failure and reluctant functionality. That's better. Kate's satisfaction was audible. The system was fighting the gravitational stress instead of compensating for it. Additional adjustments followed. The processors settled into deeper, more stable rhythms. Warning lights cascaded from red through amber toward blessed green. There. Kate completed her impossible repair with the same satisfaction she might feel after solving a crossword puzzle. That should hold until we can get proper replacement parts. Another impossible repair accomplished during casual conversation. Tara began to understand why someone might want Kate dead. This level of competence was genuinely threatening to established orders throughout the galaxy. The other engineering firms, Tara's observation carried new understanding. The ones who declared this platform unsalvageable. What about them? They weren't wrong. This should be impossible to fix. Kate surveyed the functioning machinery around them, but it's working. Yes. Then it wasn't impossible, just difficult. Kate had solved problems that 3 separate engineering firms had declared impossible. She described the achievement as difficult. Your species. Tara's fascination was becoming academic curiosity. You're all like this. Like what? Stubborn. Adaptable, unwilling to accept that problems can't be solved. Kate considered this assessment with the same thoughtful attention she gave all interesting questions. I guess we don't give up easy. Something about growing up on a planet that's actively hostile to life. Kate was describing Earth again, her tone suggesting this was perfectly normal. Tell me about Earth. Tara found herself genuinely curious. What do you want to know? Why is it trying to kill you? Kate's laughter filled the chamber with warmth that had nothing to do with reactor heat. Oh, the usual stuff. Extreme weather, natural disasters, predatory wildlife, toxic plants, unstable geology. She enumerated threats with casual familiarity. Hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes, floods, droughts, wildfires, blizzards, plus about 1 million different ways to get poisoned, eaten, or accidentally killed. Tara's research files classified these as Class 10 environmental hazards, each capable of ending civilizations. Kate discussed them as minor inconveniences requiring daily navigation. And this is normal for your species. Normal for our planet. We adapt or we die. Kate's shrug dismissed evolutionary pressure as though it were merely another engineering constraint. Mostly we adapt. Mostly we adapt. Kate was describing species-wide survival of conditions that would extinct most galactic civilizations. How many humans are there? Tara asked. On Earth, about 12 billion, last I checked. 12 billion individuals thriving on a Class 11 death world. Tara's homeworld supported 300 million citizens, and it was considered comfortably habitable by galactic standards. No wonder you're dangerous. The observation escaped unbidden. Dangerous how? You solve impossible problems. You work in lethal environments. You adapt to anything. Tara gestured at the functioning platforms surrounding them. You make the galaxy's best engineers look incompetent. Kate appeared genuinely surprised by this assessment. That's not intentional, I know. Tara's voice carried new understanding. That makes it worse. They walked back toward the coffee station through corridors where properly functioning machinery hummed with electronic contentment. Warning lights had shifted to green. Radiation levels had dropped to merely concerning rather than immediately lethal. Gravitational stress remained challenging but manageable. Kate had transformed a failing disaster into a functional orbital platform while providing medical treatment to her own assassin. The contract. Tara activated her communication systems. I have to report something. What will you tell them? That the target is dead. Kate stopped walking, sudden concern replacing her usual calm. But I'm not dead. No. But the Kate Martinez who was destabilizing galactic engineering contracts is gone. I don't understand. You're not just an engineer anymore. You're something else. Something that doesn't fit into their normal categories. Tara began composing her report while Kate observed. They wanted to eliminate a problem. But problems can't be eliminated when they're not really problems. She transmitted the report with professional efficiency. Target eliminated. Threat neutralized. Contract complete. That's not exactly true. Kate's protest carried mild concern. It's true enough. Tara closed her communication array with satisfaction. You're not the same person who was making other species look incompetent. You're the person who saved the life of someone sent to kill you. Kate contemplated this distinction with genuine interest. So what happens now? Now you continue being impossible. And I find a new line of work. What kind of work? Tara surveyed the functioning orbital platform around them. Repaired systems hummed with mechanical satisfaction. Environmental controls maintained life-supporting conditions. The human who treated lethal working conditions as routine engineering challenges had created order from chaos. I think I'd like to learn about infrastructure repair. The decision felt correct at levels she hadn't known existed. Kate's grin could have powered the station's lighting systems. It's interesting work, decent pay, terrible working conditions. I'm getting used to terrible working conditions. Good. Because the next job is atmospheric processing for a mining colony in a triple star system. Sounds dangerous. Probably. Kate finished her coffee with evident satisfaction, but we'll figure it out. Tara realized she was no longer thinking like an assassin. She was thinking like someone who wanted to learn how humans made impossible things appear routine. Someone who wanted to discover what adaptation really meant. The coffee. Tara's curiosity had become irrepressible. Is it really toxic to most species? Mildly. Why? I'd like to try some. Kate poured another cup of the black liquid with ceremonial care. Fair warning, it's an acquired taste. Tara accepted the offering, recognizing the gesture as something approaching ritual significance. The coffee was bitter and harsh, and completely unlike anything she had ever experienced. It was also warm and rich, and somehow comforting in ways that defied logical analysis. Not bad. The lie felt necessary. Liar. Kate's laughter transformed the workspace into something approaching sanctuary, but you'll get used to it. They sat surrounded by functioning machinery, drinking coffee and watching status displays paint their world in shades of green success. Around them, the orbital platform hummed with the contentment of systems working as intended. Tara had arrived to eliminate a problem. Instead, she had discovered someone who transformed problems into solutions with the casual grace of someone who had never learned that some things were supposed to be impossible. And somehow, that made all the difference in a universe suddenly full of possibilities.